force you to, like the rain, force you to change your game plan? When did you make that change? And obviously it affects the passing game. Why not? Why couldn't you run the ball better?
Yeah, it was. I've never been around conditions like this. I don't know what the numbers showed, but there must have been 30-mile-an-hour winds. And if you ever tried playing golf with 30-mile-an-hour winds, it's hard to get off the tee. Forget throw a football. So we saw this coming, so we had a plan. You could see we were under center some and tried to handle it. I mean, there were times where I was concerned about the snap coming back into the shotgun. It was so windy, and obviously there was rain there. So we tried throwing the ball. Very, very difficult to throw the ball for sure in this game, but almost impossible into the wind. And when you're playing against somebody that knows you're not throwing the ball, they put 2 extra guys down in the box. So usually they put 1 guy down, and there's a safety in the middle of the field. When they put 2 guys in and play 0, say, what are you going to do? And there's only 2 things you can do at that point. One, you get them to the extra defender, and you try to run them over, which I thought mine did a couple times, but they made the tackles. Or you get the quarterback involved and try to equate numbers through a quarterback run, which is not something that we typically do. But this was an extreme case, and CJ had a really good pull on the 3rd down, or I think it was the 4th down. That was good. And then he had the big run, the explosive run there to seal the game. So we have a couple of those in our back pocket if we need them. We don't like to go there if we don't have to, but we did. And really those are the only 2 options when you really cannot throw the football, which we tried to. You can see we had some things that were designed. Even when we tried to get the ball in the perimeter with some of the movement passes, it still wasn't just crisp because that ball was just darting in and out. So I can tell you this right now, I'm glad this game's over with.
Nathan Barrett, Cleveland.com.
Your impression of the defensive performance, that for a while there were times where Northwestern was offensively controlling this game up front too, but over the course of this game that seemed to swing back in your direction. What did you see from the defensive line, especially in the second half?
Yeah, I thought they did a nice job of incorporating the quarterback in some of their run game, and they had a couple good ideas, and but I also think our defense played strong. And as the game wore on, you realize really the pass was not going to happen. You just start bringing guys lower and lower down into the box. But I thought a couple of the short yardage situations were excellent. And you still got to make the play. You still got to defeat blocks, and they did that. And there was a point in the game where the defense really had a lot of energy. You could feel that field flipping. We decided coming out of halftime that we really needed to win that 3rd quarter, even though we knew they were going to get the ball. We took the win because we felt like it was important to get some momentum in that 3rd quarter. We didn't get a lot of plays, but we did score, and that was big.
Spencer Holbrook, Letterman Row.
Ryan, I know that you haven't been able to turn the film on or anything yet, but is there a lot that you can actually learn from a game like this, or is it just kind of throw it away and move on?
No, you can learn a lot. Yeah, you can learn a lot. I think the first thing is that we found a way to win a hard game like this, and it wasn't about anything other than winning the game. I think when you get to November and you get to certain games, it's like, well, how can you win by X number of points or whatever? And this had nothing to do with that. When you're dealing with these type of conditions, it's impossible. And I can tell you what some of the issues are going to be right now. There was an extra guy sitting at 3 yards. So what do? You either read them or you throw it. And one of those was out of the picture. So, could we have done some things better? Absolutely. But it was a very challenging day. But again, I'm glad it's now behind us.
Steve Hellwagen, 24/7 Sports.
Still got to get home, I guess.
Yeah.
Second quarter, it seemed like you guys were having a hard time converting those 3rd and 1s, 4th and 1s, and he just didn't seem to have a lot of explosion. I know he broke the one later on.
Sure.
Did you ever give any thought to getting Dallin Hayden or Chip Trianum some carries as just a change-up, maybe to change the angles or the trajectory of the run game?
Yeah, we talked about it at one point, but we felt like mine was running good, and there was just a lot of guys down in the box, and we felt like with more and more at-bats that he'd start to break them there, the more opportunities he had, and that's part of the run game. So, again, for us, whether it's an RPO or reading somebody, we try to equate numbers that way, and on days like today when you're lining up under center, it's very difficult. The really only thing you can do there is, again, run over the extra guy or play action and try to get the ball quarterback out of the pocket on a few out-of-pocket passes, which, we attempted.
Clay Hall, SYX.
So you're not concerned or unsettled by their ability to run the ball, control the clock, and possession?
I mean, at the end of the day, it comes down to scoring points, right? And they did. They had a couple first downs, but they really weren't able to score on us, and I think that's a tribute to our defense and how well they played, because anytime you hold someone to 7 points, even in conditions like this, it's a job well done. And they were involved in the quarterback. And the quarterback ran hard, and I thought we tackled him well, and he took some shots in there and kept playing. I give him a lot of credit because, in a style of game like that. The other thing was the Wildcat. They had that package where they're trying to equate numbers that way. So, hats off to Fitz. Got a good game plan, and that's why he's been here for a long time and a great coach.
Over here, Austin Ward, Rivals.
Ryan, it often feels like CJ running is the last resort. You guys don't want to put him maybe in harm's way. Is this a break glass in case of emergency situation today?
Yeah, I'd say so.
CJ wants to run.
It was something he said I'll get the same thing last week. He said that, but we know how important it is to keep CJ healthy, and he's not going to take shots unless we need him to. We needed to today, and he did it. And so you can see what he's capable, and when we need him to do it, he's there for us. And he is a weapon. He's got good feet. You can see him run down the sideline. He almost took that one all the way to the house. So. That's kind of what happened today.
Do you think seeing examples of that, whether that's for him or, I don't know, future opponents, like maybe that has to be more part of it moving forward?
Well, that's the balance you try to find, of is it worth it to get the quarterback involved and give him and expose him to the shots that could potentially put him out of the game, or do you need those yards? And I think that's where you have to make good decisions, and you have to take a deep breath at times and keep working through that, knowing that if you involve the quarterback, you might be able to make a few yards, but you're also exposing the hits. And we needed it today in these conditions at the right time, and those 2 runs were huge. I thought that we didn't just throw them in there to make 4 yards; they were big hits.
Cameron T. Robinson, The Athletic.
Ryan, does not converting those short yardage downs concern you, or is it more so of the thing of the weather conditions and them having extra through the box like
I mean, we're gonna look at it and realize that we could have moved guys. Even if there's 2 extra guys in the box, we still gotta convert in those situations. So yeah, we don't want that. But when there's 2 extra guys down, because it's probably it's real zero low coverage, there's going to be an extra guy. No excuse, we should still convert. But when there's no threat of any kind of pass at all on those situations, because in the past in those 3rd downs, shorts, if they put the middle of the field open, we're going to go get it and try to score. When you can't do that, it's a whole different feel. Angles change because there's 2 extra guys down there.
2 more
Again,
questions.
no excuse. We got to do a better job for sure, but I think that played into some of those things early.
2 more questions. Stephen Means, Cleveland.com.
Just following up on what Austin was asking you, that philosophy of not really wanting your quarterback to take shots. Have you always had that philosophy, or is that something that CJ's skill set, or is it experience with Justin the last 2 years and some of the shots he took and how kind of banged him up at times?
A little bit of both, a little bit of all the above. Yeah, I think, I think that affected Justin a little bit, certainly in the national championship game for sure. When JT was here, we decided we're going to run JT a little bit more. That was all part of the decision. And I think with CJ, he's such a weapon in the pocket, what he can do. We got to be smart about when we put him into those situations. But that's not has nothing to do with CJ. I mean, he wants to compete. He wants those opportunities. So when the time was right today, he did it to win the game, and that's what's most important. You keep winning and you move on, despite these really difficult conditions today.
And final question, Rob Aller, Columbus Dispatch.
Ryan, CJ seemed frustrated, and then there had to be a
Not as frustrated as me.
there had to be a transition point. Like, when did he realize that this isn't going to work? Did you guys reach that?
No, I don't know. I mean, we didn't
in
verbally.
terms of throwing it.
Yeah, we didn't really talk about it, but there was that point there where, I think there was one maybe to Cade, there was one maybe to Julian, and they were so low that there was just so much green grass, and I thought he threw a couple good balls, and the wind just absolutely just took it and darted the ball. It's almost like throwing a knuckleball into the wind, and that's really frustrating because now you're going to be swimming uphill all day, and that's not something we're used to. But he got gritty and made some big plays. So that's not when you think about going into a game. That's not typically what you want as a quarterback. So I thought he did a good job of being poised because I was a lot more frustrated than he was for sure. And he kept he kept working at it every play and didn't let that affect his teammates in the huddle.
I was going to say, how did you break it to him in terms? You've got to be the tailback now in a sense.
Yeah, we just talked about it, and I said, you okay, if we decide to have you read a couple guys here? And he was absolutely, he said the same thing last week in the fourth quarter. He actually came up to me, and what a sign of a great leader and a tough player.
Coach, thank you very much.
Hey, folks, I'm going to get CJ in here, and then